Hello, Collective, and welcome to a timeless reading of yours. Bear in mind a few things that this reading is going to be an infusion reading, okay? So it is definitely, with heat of a caution, going to trigger you, okay? The goal of this triggering is to induce healing vibes, all right? And the way that I, 7th, can advocate and guide and perform energetical alignments via distant, and I only perform all of my techniques via distant to prove a point, greatly to prove a point. However, in the meantime, if I don't have to explain my point, I will provide what I can and allow you to utilize your discernment as you would with any other reading or any other scenario in life to see whether or not you resonate with something. All right. As far as the reading is concerned, please remember that this is a collective reading. This is not a personal one-to-one connection that you and I actually set time for. So the reading may not resonate clearly. However, do take the bits and pieces that resonate with you and leave anything behind with me that may not have. In regards to the healing mechanism, I will activate the reading shortly. It is not yet activated. It is not of Reiki. It is something that the universe and I have co-created. It is Zai'oou. It is a difficult word to say on its own because it's not definitive. It is a flow. It is an enigma, okay? It is something that when you do speak it, it is supposed to tell you your relationship with it, all right? So whether you understand it clearly or you are familiar with it or you feel afraid of it, you and your own personal self will make that decision on your own. Whatever decision you reach is of no judgment made upon me. You more or less also, however, have reached an understanding up to this point of the reading whether or not this is something for you. I do advise to stay to the end of the reading because as soon as I activate it, at the end it will be deactivated. So I would highly encourage you to stay throughout the entire session, okay? And reading and take what you can with it, all right? With all that being said, bear in mind that I am 7th, aka Master 7th, that reads not only these energies for you, but promotes distant wellness alignments. And if you'd like more details to who and what I am, the description box will have that for you. This is one of 2 channels that I run. This is the channel of Bastet to get to her sister channel of Sekhmet. Feel free again to check out the description box below to see whether or not any of the content on either of the channels is something for you. All of it is timeless for your viewing pleasure. Please remember that in regards to feminine and masculine aspects that show up within the reading, they're non-gender specific. However, femininity has both feminine and masculine energies. Masculinity as well has both feminine and masculine energies. So before this is an activated Zai'oou infused tarot reading, I'm going to pull a few cards just to kind of assess, okay, whatever that may mean. It may mean for you to get ready, for you to explore, for you to release, whatever it may mean, for you to take this message as well and to continue forward. All right. Let's get started on your infused reading by just pulling a few cards. All right, again, I'm 7th, aka Master 7th, that reads these energies for you. All right, so they want me to ask the question out loud. What do we do? What do we need to do in order to get ready? Okay, that's the question that we are more or less answering. What do we have to do in order to get ready? Jesus. 5 cards. All right. I'm taking these 5 and no more. Oh, no. Okay. We have the Justice energy, the Devil energy. Don't be afraid. We have the Wheel of Fortune. We have the 4 of Pentacles, and we have the 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands leads the story because it is you bringing all aspects of your curiosity to what it means to be ready. You are here, so you are ready. You are ready for what is to come, what is already happening, what has occurred. You're ready to go, okay? I'm getting a thumbs up. Then there's a heat of caution of being unfamiliar with the unfamiliar and seeing whether or not it is safe adventure to believe in. It presses most likely against everything that you ever come to know and may even come to learn to know. It may open up new doors of possibilities. It may close other doors. It may provide closure. It may open up doors. It may create a foundation by asking you what your own personal foundation is, exploring your senses, exploring possibilities that might be different than what you come to know, but so is what you may classify as your best friend, right? Your best friend may be so different than you. The person that you really wish to have or already do is so different than you. You like maybe someone that is different than you. And then there are other people who like similar people. You know, if it's too different, they can't jive with it. It doesn't make them feel safe and comfortable. But isn't that still alluding to the fact that there are still several differences between you and it, whatever that it is, whether that's someone or something? So the polarization of what is righteous and wrongful is a multidimensional process that your ego will help define whether or not it's rightful or wrongful. However, true judgment, 7-Eleven, is not done via you. You don't have that power. You don't have that godliness. All right? Not to say that you're not in connection with God. It's not to say that you may not also have powers and superpowers. That's not it. But your little ego, our little ego as humans, can't make these rightful judgments, right? Other entities do that. Other beings do that, right? Whether that presses your cognitive desire of aptitude and agreement, that's for another story. That's for another time. That's not why we're here. That's not why we're here. We just have to go back to the basics of things and appreciate the basic simplicities of things. And then remember, the reason why we may accept the basic simplicity of things is because there's so many complexities right next to them. Right next to them. Sheesh. Okay. So what do we need to get ready? Nothing. You are ready. You're here. 808. You are beyond what ready could be because you may not know. But then, as you are here and on the ready, you may already do. You're here in the conundrum. All right, the Wheel of Fortune. All right, so the Wheel of Fortune is to help you protect your insecurities of what you may find yourself to feel when you see and hear of the word the devil and justice being here as a reading. Are you a righteous person? Have you bestowed guilt upon yourself and another? Have you been rude to another person? Have you been nice? Do you clean up after yourself? Are you a good person? Those existential questions. The angel and the devil on your shoulder, on your consciousness, the pressure, the weight of insecurity, the weight of fear, the weight of the unknown, the weight of the known, the weight of the battle, and the weight of the peace. Because you don't know how to keep the equilibrium in realizing all of it is amongst its chaos. I do realize that when I say angel and devil that this is not considered the angel card, but the sister energy of Bastet definitely is angelic. All right, that's Sekhmet energy, it's justice. All right, she is the curator of what it means to be part of the creating the creator energy. I'm not going to repeat that. Yeah, she is a vital key to help also bring the devil into discernment to what it means for you to have a relationship with the devil. Now, I bring that up, and you may be a new listener to my channel, and you may not know that I do, well, yes, I do these infused readings Justice readings over in Sigma's channel. But I also do the Devil series readings over on her channel too, where I argue with you via a reading that the devil energy, this card, gives so much meaning to a piece of paper. Anyway, that this is the ego of you, of us, of humans, whether it doesn't know whether it's operating of light and or of darkness, so it wants to play a game. Okay, so we're taking in these strides of their message and their lineage of knowing that they probably are rocking the highest form of control, whether you want to believe it, or whether we want to jiggy with it, whether we like their labels or address them as a different label. And because I name in that and you name in that, we may never mesh. But little do we know, we may already be meshing. So, Ether doesn't give a shit anymore about fucking labels. It doesn't. Its biggest focus is to let you know that it is in control, not you. No human, no collective masses of humans will ever be able to control what it means to control galaxy. There is no possibility of that ever happening. You may believe the slogans, you may believe the stride, you might believe the waves of possibilities, the imagination at a galore. That is fine. Imagination is wild. Question your own imagination and then question your entertainment choices or other people's choices, and don't tell me that imagination isn't fucking wild, all right? And then turn that up a little bit. If you can imagine it, couldn't it also be real? I mean, let's just rock that boat all the way out there, all the way out there. We're gonna just rock the possibilities. 11:55. Now, who we are is a personal choice. Who we are is a conversation of relationship that you have with yourself, how you are operating on the inside. And you may think that no one can read you, but if you're going to admit that you have a connection with something divine, then you're allowing me to hear the divine reads your personality on the inside. So that means, in technicality, I can sit back and just watch you because you would be omitting the rays of your divinity. And since it's divine, I should be attracted to it. I should see that glow. I should see that magnetism of like, wow, I want to get closer to you, because if I get closer to you, I feel your warmth, your sensation, you're just you, and it makes me feel good, you being you. Now I'm a little bit sassy on that, because how many people can you be that close with to be like, oh, you really you don't even have to say anything, and I just feel so good around you. Like, I don't know what you're doing in there, but keep up the good work, because it's out here, it's feeling amazing. Where the fuck have we gone as a collective human species on this fucking globe that is not on the masses, that has not been figured the fuck out to the point where it's so glorified as sustainable energy that is the point to get everybody on board with. Like, everybody on board with, like, everyone, because the opportunity to learn, exponential, because you wouldn't be blindsided and distracted by fucking fears and anxiety and panic. That is a loop, all right? That is a loop of insanity in and of itself. If we didn't have that, we'd have more time of productivity. Okay. So, what do you need to be ready? The rhetorical question has begun. So, we're gonna put these cards to the side for just a moment as the message to be heard. Now we're gonna activate the reading for a distant, okay, wherever you are, I'm here, you're there, and you will receive, more or less, if you're open to receiving, okay, and you are already receiving this reading, so consider it received. All right, but what I'm doing now is I'm going to more or less funnel in the essence of my purity. And the essence of my purity can dictate certain configurations, let's call it that way, that is done via no concept of time and space, very similar to Reiki, all the fundamentals of Reiki. And I teach via this eclectic concept, if you want to throw it that way, is that you, the one that's maybe questioning divinity, the one that maybe affirms your own divinity, or doesn't maybe have a relationship with divinity, I don't know. But the point is, my point is, that wherever you are is an absolute perfect form. If you need assistance, where do you go, right? You're meant to go exactly where you are. Most often than not, most people, the average, most person, like the most average of the people, I can't speak anymore, rely on prayer, rely on biblical, ritualistic, something that makes sense, okay? So there are a lot of people who go there in search of, this is where I am, and because this is where I am, I need assistance, I need guidance, I require, I ask for, watch over me. So the concept of me saying that I can reach you too might be absurd, because you wouldn't want me to think that I think I'm a god being able to do that. It's not like that. I'm not a god doing that. All right, on my social media, on my Instagram, before I've gotten harassed about like the tag being goddess, and it's like, I don't need to explain to you, especially when you're on a criticism mode, as to why I chose those letters. All right, like, I don't need to. I'd like to. I'd always like to explain and make myself clear, but I also know the cognitive entity that when they're triggered in a certain emotion, how difficult it might be for me to go through their own chaos. So that's when you kind of like wait and see, is there another time? Wait till you calm down. Maybe that moment will never come. But the one thing I will say is that I owe nobody an explanation, right? Especially if we're going to argue that we have a relationship with a version of divinity or trying to find that course of pursuit. So I'm over here as this weird enigma telling you to trust me. And I do have amazing testimonials, in my own personal niche as to why this works. One is fucking me, my body, all right, my experience. I got rid of lupus. Lupus is in remission for the first time after 16 fucking years. Like, this works, okay? And I'm not interested to convince. I'm not interested in that. Like, the reason why there's no interest is because I'm not going to battle with someone that's against me. I'm going to move out of the way. It's easier for everyone to recognize those patterns and move out of the way. It's great timing. Sirens and everything. We're really triggering all aspects of you to get you ready, to get this activated, to see if you can find what is of you, what will help you define what is not of you, and what is of other, that you might become curious to see if you can have a relationship with it. And maybe you already know that you already have a relationship with it, or maybe you're going to alter your relationship with it. Who knows? But I know that I bestow the capability of realigning a flow, because I figured certain things out. And here I am in practice. So let's see how this goes. All right. Any support that you'd like to give me, it would be greatly appreciated in liking or subscribing, whatever. My hope is to produce more of this. And yeah, so take a deep breath. Whatever you think a deep breath is. We already all know that we're doing it wrong, but we're doing it right in the eye of divinity, right? So just take that deep breath. And take that deep breath one more time. Okay. All right. might already be feeling a shift here. And look, you see me not doing anything yet. Alright, so we're going to get started. I'm just activating. I'm activating the session, okay? I'm removing the energies that are in my way so that you can hear me and clearly understand what comes of seventh. That reads for Bastet, that reads for other energies, and that also reads for her sister, Sigma. So, we have activated a Zai'oou session, alright, Zai'oou. The point of the session is to feel the color vibrations as they may come up, as they will come up, announce themselves for you. We accept all of the chaos because chaos is peace. You were created in a void of space that we think is dark. We think that when something is closed off, that it must be void of light, which it is. And in the womb that you were incubating of mother, you were created. And she had her own chaos. She had her own chaos of jubilee or glee, whatever it may be. I think it's so form-fitting now that literally we have a whole posse of fucking Simon's outside. And we're over here just like, yeah, we're going to take it all in. Because we are going to take it all in, right? So, give me 1 second. All right, good. Nothing that needs impending immediate attention. Okay. So, as someone who promotes Zai'oou, and it is not of Reiki, my goal is to reteach a connection of frequency and to frequency with the symbolism of color. And it is crystal consciousness. You have Ka, Ra, Ya, Sa, Ta, A, La as the fluid form, the tonality form of what it means to write Krystal. Crystal consciousness. So we have Ka, Ra, Ya, Sa, Ta, A, La. That is again what it means to understand how the word crystal is written down, was created. To understand that, to accept it in this metaphor, is to understand that I am also, in ways, an intuitive numerologist. Hold on. The need for Zen is wild. So I am an intuitive numerologist. Numerologist, okay? So I have respect that it may have taken a human at one point under the stars deep reflection to be able to learn how to cumulatively connect and communicate with one another. And however we learned how to quantify it is how we also learned in a way how to bring definition and value to. So I believe that there is a value to the number one. There's a value to number two. There's a science from the development from 1 to 2. The same thing with I have a value in number 3 and 4. There is a journey to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. There's a journey. It doesn't stop with numbers. It goes beyond with letters. And then you have religion that some people love gematria and then they're like, whoa, like you're telling me this is freaking code? And yeah, so it doesn't it doesn't just stop with numbers, okay? So we have crystal consciousness. Ka rayasa ta'ala. Ka is red. Ra is orange. Ya is yellow. Sa is green. Ta is blue. A is indigo. La is violet. You see what I just created with it being right there in front of us, which is the symbolic expression of what it means to see a rainbow as a little ant on the globe in the sky. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet would never change sequence from that course, whether artificially or organically made. From an oil spill on the ground to in the sky, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Ka rayasa ta'ala. So, I welcome you to this activated session to see whether or not you can feel the definitive form of the reality of what has been triggered within this reading, and see if they make you feel like home. It is a warming sensation. It is a you foundation. It's a you warmth. It is a you understanding, a resonancy that the more you look for it, the less you'll be able to explain it. The language is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. It doesn't care about your labels. It doesn't care. It feels entertained by them. It feels entertained by you entertaining the idea of these colors and vibrations coming together within you, and what can you do with that? So, we're taking the colors of red, we're taking the colors of orange. And if you're wondering how I'm on tune to do this, on paper I'm a 14th generational master Reiki healer, and then I took the journey to something else because I wasn't satisfied as a human, and all the things that human suffering is still yet battling within their minds and in their souls. And depending on how well your pocket is lined up with monetary means, how easy it is to deal with that battle of tug of war that seems to be, it just seems to be the experience. Like you want to try to opt out to have another, but you can't. Alright, this is still for red and this is still for orange. Alright, we're moving on to yellow. Green. I want you to remember something when it comes to green. Green is the chest area. It's our lungs. It's our heart. It's not just in the front. It's in the back. It's the trapezoids. It's the connection between the spine and the body, all the way down to the center where the sternum is, and the front and the back. It is a big space. And we love, and are fascinated with the idea of love. We're afraid of loving ourselves. We're afraid of loving another. We're afraid to ask questions. We're afraid to be definitive. And we're even more afraid of change. And yet we're so symbolically driven. We're so symbolically driven to the point that if you're talking about how you really feel with the symbolisms around you, someone may cut you off because you just love it so much. Do you understand my point? My point in this message is that sometimes some people don't really care. They don't really care, and you feel that in your heart because of all the things that are still left to discuss that you just don't ever get to, that type of thing. Yeah, that gets alleviated once we learn self-love. That's a breath of space between what someone can't change about us and what we can't change about them. And then I want you to remember something, that if you were indoctrinated to symbolically draw the heart, the color red, with everything you're feeling now, do you understand that symbolically drawing that heart red is wrong? It's not the correct frequency. It is not the correct color. I just said green. Green is heart, chest, lungs, back, connection. And we're drawing it red, and it's not that color. You probably have felt a lot of relief right now. And you don't know where that's coming from. And allow it to come if it's tears, because that's your soul saying, God damn it, I want to release this finally. Like, you may not understand yet cognitively, but do you hear yourself? Do you feel the resonancy? And mind you, I'm not saying do you hear me, do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself? All right, moving on to the color blue, where Ka is red, and Ra is orange, and Ya is yellow, and Sa is green, Ta, the lungs that communicate with the tunnel of the neck. Yes, sky blue. Ta. You might feel yourself like choking a little bit, coughing a little bit, wanting to like clear your throat. There might be a symptom, okay, having something to say, not knowing what to say. All could be the channel of the flow here of light blue. You know, any secrets that you might have, you might choke up a little bit. Any secrets that you need to let go of, you might need to expose them a little bit. Allow the sensation to occur. You might be feeling a center pull from your body pulling you down. Pulling you down. The center of the body running through the middle of your brain, down the flow might be pulling down. It's going away. It's going towards what is right, to teach you what is wrong. That push is happening. That flow is occurring. Sky blue. Ta, 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 ta. All right, next. Indigo. Indigo. Third eye. Feel the vibration. Feel the vibration. Allow it to tell its story. Allow its removal. Allow its purity flow. Allow it to make contact. Breathe. Release. Breathe. Release. Breathe. Release. You might feel yourself feel bigger right now, more expanded. Okay, take a deep breath in. Shoulders up, down, shoulders up, down. Relax. You're here, you're normal. All right, this is a normal situation. This is a normal moment. There's nothing crazy about this. This is you in body contact with yourself. That's all that's happening. All right. We still are working with we're going down to ka, to red and orange and yellow and green and blue and indigo. Okay. After la. Violet, pink, la, la. You might feel a pull. You might be feeling it. There is something to seeing my hands and feeling the trigger as well, okay? It is an activated session. You're taking in more than just my hands, all right? This is not a linear experience. All right, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Release. All right. Let's see what your crystal consciousness is all about. What is the messages? This is still a general reading. Consider the session still activated. This is not over until the reading is done. All right. Seven of Wands. You're feeling the effect of release. Okay. There's a moment that occurs before, during, and after a breath, and that is being shifted. Yeah, you might be feeling a lot right now, okay? And allow yourself to feel these weird sensations. Very weird sensation. I'm getting even sweating right here if that's a thing for someone, okay? I'm getting tingling sensation for here if that's for someone. Weird hot spots, weird zones. It's completely normal. It's normal for what is not the everyday norm at this moment, okay? But it is normal for feeling a lot in a moment and allowing that moment to give you every possibility of where you need more of yourself, where you need more of that trust of vulnerability, authenticity, more exposure to what is yours, to identify what is not of yours, so you can make the distinction of what stays and what goes, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, physically. All right. So we naturally pick up resistance of energy. I'm a big advocate to believe that negative energy does not travel, and however grows and expands. So if somebody is a malicious person, then yeah, their attitude can be infectious, just like a person that has internal beautiful glow that makes me attracted to them and I want to get closer to you because there's something about you. that can also happen with someone having negativity within them. And we are often thinking that negative travels, and we're indoctrinated to believe that because, the idea of being in a room with so many sick people, you're going to also get sick. But there are other factors as to why that happens. It's bacteria for one, okay? But however, when it comes to a viruses, they're not a living creature. You have to feed off of something, okay? It's the same thing with, like, negativity, all right? They're feeding off of you because you're most likely someone who naturally gravitates between figuring out what is right and wrong for themselves or for another. So whatever subconsciously then is also triggered to be under the quota of negative is going to attach themselves to what you will subconsciously or consciously gravitate towards as being negative. And that's how negative energy grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. And then sometimes we're compelled to feel like, well, wait a minute, like, I don't understand why I have this heavy weight on me. What is this? And then that becomes a different type of journey, a different type of consciousness awareness, let's put it that way, okay? But the organic material to help you kind of reduce the stress, whether or not someone's going to come in or, like, give you demonic energies, or if I induce demonic energies, like, first of all, if you had that fear, you shouldn't have been here in the first place. That's for nothing. That's for nothing and everything, okay? Then the idea of being able to do that, I mean, that's ridiculous to quote it this way, and then doing something like that, having that concern that I'm capable of that is a concern of mine as well. That's where the egos will, like, look at each other and be like, you think I'm capable of that, right? And your intuition is going to do the searching, whether or not you're going to trust this, if you can trust it. But I have faith in the energies of what I've activated to tell that story for themselves, where I don't have to do that and have to tarnish a possible opinion of someone having that of me, when this is just a collective free content for you anyway, right? Don't want to dumb it down, but at the same time, I have to go back to the basics and allow everyone to kind of just take a deep breath to see how far your concerns or gratifications have gone before they go do the critical thinking judgment route. Okay? So, no, demonic energy doesn't travel like that. There are entities, and we're not going to get into this conversation now, that have a different story, a different agenda. Now, that different story, different agenda most likely will not be this story and this agenda. Just respect to what that is. It ain't this, so they ain't gonna meet. You know what I'm saying? Right? Color frequency: the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, indigo, and violet. The rainbow in the sky can still indicate that there's war on the ground. So let's be wiser in understanding what the actual decisions are that cause the chaos, that brings chaos to our hearts, our minds, our souls, and pressure on generations. Point to that one. It's not the archangels and the saints doing that. It's humans. Whether that's dictated by the archangels and whatever, still, the human has to make that choice. And so it becomes a fault line of the human. Alright? Alright, we have the Nine of Cups. So we're forced to feel a lot, right? Because that's the human experience as well. You might be searching for validation. Look at that, as the Strength card wants to show up. You might be searching for validation, forcing yourself to find something, and then you may have to be reminded from me, if you start looking for something, you will always find something, even if that something is nothing. Something is found. Alright, we have the Nine of Cups with the Nine of Wands. So we don't always understand our sufferings and our emotions, right? That's part also of the human experience. For those individuals who are quote-unquote very sensitive, and I say quote-unquote sensitive because I don't like that analogy. I don't believe that someone who is sensitive and then gets inundated with a lot of trigger points and hot zones and reactions and chemistry happening within them is a sensitive quality. It is a powerful quality to feel that much. And I'm here to fucking remind people in a sassy, edgy, classy way that it is very imperative for you to have that mindset of edgy, classic charm and chivalrous behavior upon yourself. Authenticity is a vulnerable thing, and vice versa too. Vulnerability is a very visceral form of authenticity. So to make that match up with ourselves and a scenario is very earth-shattering, is very vulnerable, it's very exposing, right? And not everyone can handle such exposure, and not everyone has the best case scenario always happen to them in that sense of exposure. And so when they do happen from time to time, sometimes it does explain like how two people meet that fall in love with one another, or in any capacity, whether that's platonic or romantic, you know, or but the point is that the internal decisions that we reach is a journey. It is a journey to learn for ourselves what internal forgiveness is, what also internal righteousness is and wrongfulness, and how to say sorry and how to be sorry for someone or towards something, how to understand when you are guilty, when you're the predator, when you stay too long in victimhood in either direction. There is a need to remind yourself that you also have the power to step forward and to do and to show up. All that is internal. All that is class A at being the determining factor of what your life will be all about. The inside. The inside determines your outside. And the only thing that the outside is in charge of is how distracted you are going to be from participating in the inside world of yours. So we search places, right? We search for places where we can rejuvenate our well-being, whether that's in the stigma of life and its journeys that we can chase, whether that's, you know, looking forward to getting married, looking forward to having children, having a house, having a new career, looking to graduate, wherever you are in your life chapters. You have certain taglines that keep us looking ahead into the future, knowing that there's something beyond the now. However, when beyond the now becomes a point where it backfires and you are no longer present, you're no longer at peace, you're no longer swimming with equilibrium, you don't understand what it means to not concern yourself anymore with future. You're not in control of the now. And that's what we need to remember as we also try to learn how to rebuild ourselves, right? Not everyone gets into this lifetime learning how to do self-care regimen and self-care routines and self-love and learning how to deal with the abundance of influxes inside and facing that on the outside, right? Not everyone is apt to make this a real-time thing, thinking that actually, if I really pay attention, I'm the only one in this room right now. Who am I really talking to? There are ways of being that, again, you don't need to explain. You just need to become and do. And life will shape you for those choices. And you need to accept that shaping. If you don't accept that shaping, then we're also then a bit responsible for putting ourselves in those situations for that to occur. All right. Now, this is not a very linear explanation. This is a multidimensional form of being. So everyone may have different points of opinions and counter opinions or judgments or criticisms or viewpoints to add on to this. Okay. Remember that. Now, the thing that we often, however, do forget is that when we are searching for things that we want materialistically, sustenance-wise, spiritually, emotionally to feel fulfilled, we do a lot of putting our faith into other than, again, ourself. The other meaning we have more faith in wanting to secure our behavior with another person. That's our relationship. Question the relationship. question the other person within the relationship and connection, rather than taking all those questions to ourselves. And that is a problem. That is a problem that will continuously be on repeat until we understand it bigger and grander collectively. You have to face troubling questions on your own. You have to reach answers for those questions on your own to understand the other questions that you're asking that are all aspects external of you that are still dependent on internal choices outside of you, whether or not you and them will be in a connection. Like the countless of times that people, especially when I started reading tarot, that people want not only free readings, but they want readings that confess the truth whether or not that person that they have a crush on is and belongs to them. Like, it became ridiculous to see that nuanced question happening over and over and over and over and over again. And people are not getting it. They're not getting what it means to mind your own goddamn business and still be entertained with all the emotions that you have. We're not saying don't have the emotion towards the crush, but also start asking those questions and answer those fucking questions for yourself. Does that person like you as well? Are you getting a text message that that person likes you? No. So the answer is no. We have to ask questions. We have to give those questions answers. And we have to force our concerns of emotions to meet some form of logic. Because our emotions within chaos or emotional glee requires that of ourselves. It requires transactional, logical behavior so that not only we can learn emotional intelligence within ourselves, but of the journey that may involve another person as well. So, why is that so hard for people to remember? Because they're absolutely afraid of the dark. They're afraid to be left in the dark. They're afraid of political shit not being really on, like, what is the truth, having to do the research, at the same time being smacked with the insanity that they're going to be the ones to do the research, like private investigators, but knowing that, you know, like, why do I have to do all this work when the information just could be given to me? Like, it's funny how that just came up. And then there's people who are afraid of the dark, all right? They're afraid of going to sleep. Have a hard time going to sleep, excuse me. They have a hard time just, like, relaxing their woes and their concerns. They don't know how to really boost their frequency anymore and stop themselves from crying. Like, it's chaotic for a lot of people. And then when I say, well, this is a war on consciousness, they're like, nah. Why? Because you don't see bodies drop down on the fucking floor? Are you kidding me? They're all spinning out of fucking control themselves. So, I say go back to color and frequency. Go back to the color red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, and let it tell its own fucking story. And the story is edgy and healing, and it's not pure of no cuss words. It probably has 90% full of cuss words. Because granted, the color red, the beginning, earth, the root chakra, security, money is a big fucking problem. And we need to be able to say with our chest that it's a fucking problem. So, you know, if we're still chiseled with the fact that it's not righteous to do a little cussing, that individual who said that needs to go on top of the fucking mountain and scream. Scream so long and so loud until they're back to understanding what it means to curse a little bit. Because there are bumps and bruises where, oh, that really hurt, just doesn't get to the point. But, fuck, that hurt, reaches that vibration. It's incredulous how pure they make everyone think that behavior needs to be in order to be reached and have a relationship with divinity. No, not quite the thing. Not quite the thing whatsoever. Alright, we're just going to get a few more messages. What else is there? Alright. Queen of Pentacles with the Ten of Swords. This is nice. Alright, this is taking what it is that you do know and interlocking yourself with wisdom to know better. And that wisdom to know better is not because you need to know better or you need to be harsh on yourself for not knowing something. It's more about knowing that now you know better. Now you feel better. Now there's something different. And because there's something different, change has already occurred. Change has already occurred. So you're going to get from this reading, quite almost literally, and feel different. That different might also come later. But I'm sure it will happen the moment that you physically leave this reading. That something is different. It's definitely either from lying down to sitting up, from sitting up to standing up, that maneuver. But it's about getting up, not laying down. And you're feeling that shift. You know, if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. If it does, it does. This is still a general collective session. All right. The star. It's gorgeous. I think you feel the message from that one, right? I really don't have to say anything. I'll show you the card one more time to help you assess the message of the card. You are that star, non-gender specific, okay? You're the one going with the force of the wind, with all elements of concerns. You might be new to the party, but you're right on time. You may be fashionably late, but you're also right on time. There's water and air happening here at the same time. There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening because you feel a lot. And allow your body, not your mind, your body to go through those emotions. Allow your body to detox what your mind is computing. And then we have the Hanged Man, which I think is so appropriate for closing out the session. Where will you feel achieved and complete? And then understand that wherever you feel bounded by that is an illusion. That there is an altered sense of course and direction that can be taken and that can be begotten. And it's right there exactly in the same area of the feeling that you're having within this vortex at this time. There is no later, there is no yesterday, there is a right now. And in that right now is everything and then some. It's more or less almost like the hourglass being turned around again. And time taking on again. But you're the one who has to turn yourself around. Do the hokey pokey and you do the surf around. That's what it's all about. Hilarious. Funny, so random. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to close up the session. All right, folks, I'm wishing you a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are in the ether of this time and space. And may you keep flowing, growing, and glowing. Take care.